Hi everyone, this is Bookets Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the DC Multiverse Steppenwolf Build-A-Figure. So before we take a look at Steppenwolf, let's take a look at the only accessory that he comes with, his axe. Now, it did come out of the package warped. I could probably just put it in some boiling water and straighten it out, but I haven't so far. But the axe looks really nice. Let me move Steppenwolf there. The axe looks really nice. It has a lot of detail, and I do mean a lot of detail into it. It has sculpting and everything. And it is a silver color and has a dry brushing of bronze over it, which just makes it look really awesome because it reflects that bronze color. I just really like this. I think it would have been nice if the blade would have been had a slight dry brushing of red to it or something. That would have been nice, but even the handle has a lot of detail to it. And taking it in and out of Steppenwolf's hand, it hasn't made the paint chip or anything like that. So that's really nice. Because usually with accessories, they'll either make the figure's hands, the paint on the figure's hands chip, or the accessory will chip. And I haven't gotten either, which is really nice. And it is a little tricky getting it into Steppenwolf's hand. You do have to put the point right there. You do have to have it like that. Kind of shove it through like that. It is a process, but you can get him holding it just fine. And since he is so big, I'll probably just pop the head off here and show the head sculpt like that. So for the head sculpt, Mattel did an amazing job on the sculpting on the head, because his helmet right here has a lot of sculpting detail. It has a lot of lines sculpted into it, and the collar. It's this really dark silver collar and has a dry brushing of blue over it, like a navy blue. You can see that depending on the way that you hold it, it'll reflect that collar. And the dark blue is more present right here at the bottom of the horns on his helmet. And the tip right here has the dry brushing of red over it. And you can still see the silver too because it reflects both collars. I really love the collar on this figure. It really pops. The head sculpt looks nice too. I actually thought that these, like his goatee, I guess you would call it. I actually thought that was part of his helmet, but I must have been wrong, because you can see that the helmet stops right here. But his face has a dry brushing of charcoal over it, which really gives it depth. Like all the wrinkles and stuff that's in his face, the dry brushing of charcoal really brings that out. So that looks really awesome. And let me just put this back on there. Because like I said, this figure is really huge and doesn't really want to fit in the screen very well. And his whole costume has a lot of sculpting detail to it. His collar right here, it has red, silver, and blue dry brushed on it. Like there you can see it's reflecting the navy blue collar. And there's his armor. There's just a lot of sculpting going on throughout this whole figure. Like his arms have like a lot of scratches and dents in the suit, which looks nice. And there are his gauntlets. And there you can see that it's that navy, and then it fades into silver, and then the silver fades into, kind of looks like a little bit of black right there. It fades into black, and then into red. So Mattel definitely impressed me with this collar and sculpting on this figure, or the paint, not the collar, you know what I meant. And his belt has that alien skull on it, which has a dry brushing of gold over it. This whole figure, this is the reason that what number was it? I forget what number it was on my top 10 toys of last year, but that's why he was on the list, because this is one of my favorite figures from last year. And his loincloth right here is made of a very rubbery kind of vinyl material. But even it has great sculpting detail to it. It has the sculpting, and then it has the dry brushing of black, blue, silver. And like I said, when you hold it up to the light, you can see that it reflects all those different colors, which is really nice. Now, one problem I did have with the figure is when I'm moving the waist like that, it'll do that. The torso will pop off from the waist there. And right there on his back, which that joint is a little unsightly right there. It kind of looks funny because it's smooth right there so that he can move back. But it has diamonds sculpted into it right there, which looks nice. I think the sculpting should have continued right here where the ab swivel is. Not really an ab crunch because it can't move forward. But I think the sculpting should have continued right there. But that's not a big deal to me. His hands don't have any paint detail. They're just that kind of weird grayish color. But it doesn't have the dry brushing like Steppenwolf's face had. And I think that it would have improved if it had that. But you could probably do that with just some paint. That would be really easy to do. It really doesn't bother me though. Just kind of an odd thing that his face had all that dry brushing and his hands don't have any of it. And then there are his boots, which have even more sculpting detail. Like, the amount of sculpt that's going on this figure is insane. I'd say this probably had more sculpting detail than any of the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figures from last year. Like I said, I love how it reflects that blue color. And then as you turn it to the side, it reflects silver, which is really nice. So now I'm going to go over his articulation. I will have to have him back here for that. He's actually got a ball-jointed head, like not that weird swivel joint. It's actually got a ball joint. And he can look up that far. You can get him looking up that far. He can look down all the way. Move his head side to side. And a little bit of pivot there. His shoulder pads do hinder his shoulder articulation. Because if you try to move him out very far, the arms will just pop right off. So he's got ball-jointed shoulders that can only move out to the shoulder pads right here. He's got a swivel at the bicep, single-jointed elbow, which actually, that's pretty good. That's got some pretty good articulation to it. So that's a really good elbow, single-jointed elbow. Also has that swivel right there. He's got a swivel at the wrist. He's got a swivel. Well, I suppose that is an ab crunch, but it can't move forward. It can only move back, which I'm not really sure what the point of that is. Because this circle right here on his torso, that he can't move forward. If I did force it, it'd probably chip the paint off or probably rip it. So and I don't want that to happen. He's got a swivel at the waist. Does he have ball jointed hips? Yes, he has ball jointed hips. They can just about do a split because the loincloth right here is made of that soft rubbery material, so he can move out that far. He can kick forward just about all the way. Like I said, since it's soft, it really doesn't hinder his articulation much. And he can kick back just a little bit. He's got a swivel at the thigh, single jointed knee, and a swivel at the ankle that really doesn't move at all. Just moves up and down just barely. So that really isn't a big deal, though, because even though he's a big Build-A-Figure, you can see that he can stand just fine like that. And you can get him to hold the axe in both hands. He can't hold it all the way, like he can just hold the bottom right here, but that really doesn't bother me. Because this Build-A-Figure is very, very awesome. So now I'm going to, since he's so big, I'm just going to do a size comparison to one Justice League member at a time. Nope, that's not the right one. Here he is next to Superman. And he towers over Superman. He towers over most of the figures in this wave, honestly. Just because he is very tall. Let me see here. I think he's just about as tall as the Warlock Build-A-Figure. I should have gotten that out for a size comparison to do. That would have been a nice way to show you how tall he is. But there he is next to Superman. Almost looks like a 3-inch figure next to Superman. Or Steppenwolf makes Superman look like a 3-inch figure. Here is the Flash next to Steppenwolf. And, oops, that was my fault. There. Here he is next to Aquaman. And Aquaman is taller than most of the Justice League, and he still towers over him. Here he is next to Cyborg. He's also another taller figure, You can see that he comes to just about his bicep right there. And here he is next to Wonder Woman. Oh, she's actually standing up for me this time. And then here he is next to the final member of the Justice League, Batman. So overall, this is a very, very awesome Build-A-Figure, and I would highly recommend getting it, because there was a couple figures in the wave I didn't want, but I'm glad that I got them so I could finish this Build-A-Figure, because he's one of my favorite figures from last year. It's just massive. And if you have the Batcave playset from Mattel too, he looks really awesome on the top level in the alleyway. That's probably where I'm going to have to take the thumbnail for this video, because my diorama is too short for him. He towers over the diorama I have. So this is a very awesome toy, or Build-A-Figure, action figure, and I would highly recommend it. So that's my review. And if you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.